Welcome to Dirt Live Off-Road Racing Show. And here's your host, George Antill.
Hey, welcome to Dirt Live. We're coming to you live from the El Dorado Hotel and Casino in Reno, Nevada. Hey, tonight's guest, the legend, Rod Hall. We've got Chris Baum, the CEO of the Reno Tahoe USA. We have TJ Flores with us tonight doing what we call now Tech Talk. And we have Roger Norman joining us at the end of the show, talk a little about the upcoming race at the Reno 500. And we have the Baja 500 giveaway tonight at the end of the show. So watch this clip, video of the week, and we'll be right back here on Dirt Live.
Signed my last poster before the Baja 500. Running was good. I've been down here since Wednesday night and just been over my sections a whole bunch. I know every single rock, every turn. I'm really stoked on what we've been doing and all the support that Derek and Mitch and TJ have been giving me because they've been hooking it up, letting me pre-run long days, and I'm ready. I'm coming for you, Kurt.
Pre-running was good, only hit one cow and had one big crash, but other than that it was good.
It's shining just for us. Outside there's children playing. Sun seems to be
getting ready to take off in the morning. Early morning Baja 500 here. Go for a little flight and should be ready to go. It's going to be a good day racing.
Copy that, 645.34, correct. 1X, 640.60.
We're here at Honda 5, waiting to get on the bike. We're in physical lead right now in front of KTM.
Okay, 1X across the road. We got about a 3-minute gap. We're split to 2X at the road crossing.
Copy that, we're ready.
We gotta come in and do a wheel change, rider change, air filter, fuel. Just keep the lead going. If not, then pull a rabbit out of the hat. So, see how it goes. Hopefully get over Mike's, get out of the way of the sportsmen, and stay out of the dust.
one was like absolutely perfect. I had absolutely no issues. All of our riders just did an awesome job. And it's awesome that all this hard work is finally paying off. And we're just showing everybody who's boss.
We had really good racing going on early in the race, and then as the miles went on, we wore the competition down. They had some issues. We kept going forward, executing our plan as planned, and things just fell together in our favor, and we didn't have really any problems to speak of. All the riders did really well. They knocked it down. It was really good, and I'm really proud of the team. I'm proud of the pit support program. Every single one of our volunteers did excellent, and I just can't thank everybody enough for their hard work and dedication to the program.
Hey, welcome back to Dirt Live. Great video, great win for JCR Honda. Next up, we're going to show you a tech tip by TJ Flores, coming to you right here on Dirt Live. Check it out.
I'm TJ Flores with Champion Raceworks, here to talk about some CV tech tips, how to keep your CVs alive and make them last a little bit longer in this off-road racing world. Here's a 934 CV that's brand new, unprepped. Should always polish these out, kind of make them where they're real smooth, and so kind of like a baby's butt, you know, so they make it last a little longer. And same with the CV Stars, the brand new one, they're unfinished, the edges are real sharp. And then you take them and you got to polish them out. You polish them, you take the edges, take a little 45 on the edge so it don't break off and cause CV failure, and it extends the life of your CV. A lot of people don't know this, and that's why a lot of people have CV failure. Then, you know, just how to properly put a CV together is another hard end. On a CV, the cage has a thick end and then a end that has a bevel to it, and the bevel end should always go towards the axle, not towards the clip side. So when you put the CV together, the CV goes through the beveled end of the CV cage, and then I always put the step side towards the beveled end, and then leaves the flush end to go to your CV clip on your axle. And then when you assemble it, there's large and small vanes on your CV Star. So when you assemble them, you should put the small to large, and you know, vice versa, and that allows the CV to, if you put them the other way, the CV is going to fail immediately. And there's different, you know, this is a stock CV that's broached 33 splines, and these are broached 35 splines for like class 1 racing applications. And then let's assemble one for you. Maybe. Now your CV is assembled, so it gyrates all around and your angles, and make sure it doesn't bind or anything, so it all will go smooth. And then now you're ready to put it on the axle and grease it. Well, I use Bell Ray CV grease. To me, it's probably the best stuff. We've tried all kinds of, CV grease, but Bell Ray is the last of the best for me. I mean, you just takes more prep maintenance every race, or in a pre-runner you need to mix it because this stuff will dry out. But race application, Bell Ray to me is the best product I used. And then you gotta totally pack the CV. So it's thoroughly packed on one side, rotate it over, do the other side just the same, and then your CV is ready to assemble. And that's all you need to go racing.
Hey, welcome back to Dirt Live. TJ, thanks for that tech tip. We're going to be getting more of those every week. We're going to go to a commercial. When we come back, we're going to have the legend, Rod Hall, right here. Okay.
For those who pledge allegiance to life, liberty, and the endless pursuit of a damn good time, we have one suggestion. Find your passion in Reno Tahoe, USA. 4 seasons, 1,000 reasons. Visit RenoTahoe.com.
The Eldorado brought you Power Pennies, where you get bonus spins for free play and bonuses follow you. Now, we're giving you more power to win with Power Ponies. Now win 5 times more on hourly races. More power to win. Win free play daily with random birthday bonus. Fantastic Friday slot tournaments. Win up to $1,000. Play Power Pennies at the Eldorado.
Hey, welcome back to Dirt Live. We're here with our special guest, Rod Hall. Rod, welcome to the show, buddy.
Well, thank you, George. Great to be here.
You know, you're known as the ambassador of off-road racing. You're a legend in the sport. Let's talk a little bit about Rod Hall.
Well, first of all, how do you become a legend? Because you're been in it longer than anybody else? Is that what makes you a legend?
I think, you know, when you've started out racing in Baja in 1967 and you're still doing it, I think you're a legend.
Well, yes. I mean, yes, I started in 1967 and I'm still racing. I raced my 45th Baja 1000 this last November.
Now, when you started, before you did that, let's talk about a little bit. You grew up, you were down in California for a while?
Yes, I grew up in Southern California, a town called Hemet, kind of where four-wheeling kind of started back in the 50s. And so I bought my first Jeep in 1955 or 56. See, I started on motorcycles. I really liked the dirt. And so I started on motorcycles. And then when I got to be about 16, I started noticing women, the little gals. Yeah. And I needed a nice chest and a sleeping bag, and I couldn't carry all this stuff on my motorcycle, so I said, I better get something else. So I got a Jeep. And so I just got hooked on four-wheeling, and I've only raced four-wheel drive vehicles mostly. and I just like what they do for me and how they perform, and I like to get the most out of whatever I'm driving.
Well, let's talk about your first off-road vehicle, and that was a Jeep, right?
That was a Jeep, a CJ5 Jeep, yes. And one thing about that particular vehicle, George, was the fact that it taught me how to be a mechanic, because I bought it from this international harvester dealer, and it was owned by a little lady in Pasadena, but that part wasn't quite true. So I learned to be a pretty good Jeep mechanic, and the reason I've been sort of successful in off-road racing, because I learned what tear these things up. And you know, when you tear them up, you stop. And so as long as you keep the scenery moving, you're doing all right.
Let's talk a little bit about, you worked with suspension and, you know, different things in those Jeeps to make them handle.
Well, yes, but you know, nothing against the Jeep, but you could not design a worse off-road race vehicle than a CJ5 Jeep with the narrow, you know, width on it and the short wheelbase. And so when the first Baja 1000 came up in 1967, I went and bought a brand new Jeep, and you'll like this, George, $1,700 from Brian Chichua. And I was saying earlier, you know, the stock Jeep comes with a 3-leaf spring, but everybody knows that 13 leaves has to be better than 3, right? So I got Brian to put the heavy-duty springs on it, 13 leaves on each set of springs, and then I took it back to Hemet and I put dual shocks on it, because I wanted to be sure that there was no wheel travel in that Jeep. And then we had bias belted tires with no flex in them. And I'll tell you one thing, George, if you weren't tough and dumb, you'd have never stayed in that thing for 1,100 miles or whatever the first race was.
But you did pretty good. I mean, now you started out, how did you do that first race in '67?
Well, we just did it. You know, there was a guy named Bill Hardy that actually worked for Jeep Corporation. He kind of helped me a little bit along the way with parts and things. But when Larry Miner and I pulled up to the starting line, Bill Hardy handed me this compass. And he says, now Rod, everybody thinks that La Paz is south of Ensenada. But it's not, it's southeast. So you get down there in that peninsula and you don't know where to go, you just keep that needle pointed to the southeast and you'll go to La Paz, guaranteed. And so we used it several times, and that's how we actually got to La Paz, because we never pre-ran, didn't have a map, we just went on down the road. But the thing is, George, there was like 5 or 6 checkpoints, but there was no marked course. As long as you got to the checkpoint, that's all that mattered. You could come in from the south, they didn't care.
So how did you know where those checkpoints were? I mean,
well, because you stayed on Highway 1. And, you know, maybe we did have some sort of a map, but we had La Prisima and El Arco, these were checkpoints. And so you'd get into the checkpoint, but the thing different also was the fact that your fuel was in the cost of the entry, because there was no roads down there. So you'd pull into El Rosario, that was our first fuel stop. And we pulled up there, and there was this hand pump, gas pump there, and they just fill up that glass thing and they put it in your car. Well, there was a couple of buggies ahead of us there, so we just got out, and Miner and I, and we chatted with the cars in front of us, like where do we go from here, what do we need to be looking for, and things like that. So you just got your fuel and took off down the road. I mean, I wouldn't say it was a race, like it was not a race like today. It was an endurance and just an adventure for us.
Now you left from the CJ5. Now what? You did some racing with Dodge and then later on Hummer?
Well, yeah, actually, George, my first ride was with Brian Chichua in a CJ5 Jeep. Then we stepped up to Jeepster, and then I got a ride with Bill Stropp and Ford Motor Company. So I raced for Ford for, I think 20 years almost, and then raced for Dodge for almost 20 years with Dodge, and then Hummer. So I've always been a factory-backed race car owner, driver. And, you know, my wife wasn't rich enough for me to be on my own, so I always had to race for the factory. And it was great. So I always raced production cars.
Yeah, you did a great job, or they wouldn't be sponsoring you, you know?
Well, I learned some other things about being in the race business. You know, if you can help a company sell product, you probably got a job for as long as you can help them sell product, you know. And Bill Strop was a good mentor for me. You know, he taught me how to take care of vehicles, and he taught me how to take care of myself. And he says, one thing he used to say, now Rod, remember, we're in the show business. And not only are we in the show business, we're representing Ford Motor Company. So you remember that when you're out on the town or you're out there just being somebody out there, and I think that really stuck in my mind. So I've always tried to, you know, keep a good image out there and represent the companies that support my habit.
You know, you make a great point, because I've had people all the time ask me, how do I get sponsors? You know, how do we make it work? And I know when I raced, there was the same idea. They don't care if you win every race. They just want you to represent and promote their product. I think you made a great point.
Well, I believe that's true, because I've helped a lot of young people get started, and I would say to them now, Max Tracks, you know, if you're going to race with them, then what you need to do is help them sell their product. Because with BF Goodrich, I actually started what's called a light truck tire seminar, and I did it for almost 30 years. And I sold a lot of tires for BF Goodrich. Now, you put the name on the car, you give them exposure. But I actually worked with people to sell tires. So we sold lots of tires. And we know we sold tires because you go to a tire dealer today, you go in there and they have 25 different brands of tires they can sell. And our numbers with BF Goodrich and Michelin, they'd always go up on Monday morning. They would go up because we taught them about the tires, the unique quality that BF Goodrich has, the durability. And, you know, so anybody out there that wants to go racing, you better figure out, and you want to make your living at racing, then you better figure out how you're going to help that customer or your team you work with, a company you work with, sell the product.
You know, it's great, you know, research and development, kind of like what you did. So let's talk, you know, with 45 races, no one's done that. I mean, 45 races as of last year's Baja 1000. Yeah. We'll talk a little bit later about you're going to try it again this year. But any great, you know, the best race ever? I know you won one overall. Was that the best one?
Well, yes. In '69, Miner and I won the Baja 1000 overall, and we also beat the motorcycles by about 10 minutes. But it's the only time a four-wheel drive vehicle has ever won overall. And so, you know, that didn't do anything more for me than just winning my class. And so as the vehicles became more and more exotic, I just stayed with the production cars because I really enjoyed seeing how much I could hammer that car and, you know, get away with it and learn what it would do. So the Baja 1000 in '67 was certainly a good memory for me. I got a lot of stories to tell about the very first one, though, in 1967, because that was an adventure. You know, nobody had been down there racing before. Miner and I had never been below Ensenada, so how would we know where to go? So it was a miracle that we made it down there, but thanks to Bill Hardy and his compass, got a couple of interesting stories about that compass that someday I'll tell you, George.
You still got the compass, right? You're looking for it.
Well, I wished I did, but I don't.
But that's the good story. I mean, so now you moved along with Ford. Ford was pretty good. Got to have a pretty good company to represent.
Oh, Ford was really good to me, and I really enjoyed racing for Ford. And then so I started with Ford in '68 maybe, and I raced up to 1975. Then in '75 I joined Dodge and raced from Dodge till 93 maybe, 92, 93. And then Hummer came along, and you know, Dodge was getting more into modified stuff. They wanted to go faster, but Hummer says, we want to race production cars, and I says, okay. Interesting quick story. Went down there with the Hummer, the Humvee, which I didn't even know what it was at the time, but it had a 6.5 self-aspirated engine in it that maybe had 80 horsepower, I don't know. But we went down and we took, when you do a corporate thing, you know, you don't go by yourself, you go with a crew of people. And so we spent 3 days down in Baja checking it out, and so we were all sitting around this table, and Bill Thompson says, well, what do you think, Rod? I said, well, if we get a little help from God and he really makes this course rough this year, we might have a chance, because you know we're not going to outrun nobody, but we might outlast them if it's tough enough. And it was, you know, that Motomi wash area was just boulders and tree stumps, and so heck, you know, I was like 30 minutes back getting into the wash, but I was the first guy out, and then didn't look back all the way back to Mexicali, because they started in Mexicali that year and we ended up back in Mexicali. So that was a good experience for Hummer, and that launched my career with Hummer.
Yeah, I mean, when you think of Rod Hall, you know, people that have been racing the last 20 years, you think of Hummer. You know, you definitely, and like you said, you represented them so well. Yourself, your two sons, you know, Chad and Josh.
Yes.
And when you think of Hummer, like I said, it's Rod Hall.
Well, yeah, and that's been fortunate for us. But you know, we also became a Hummer dealer in Reno, and but one thing that's really come out of it is Chad and I have a company called Rod Hall Licensed Products, where we do all kinds of suspension improvements to the Special Forces guys, because everything's unique today. And through racing those Hummers, the Special Forces says, how in the heck can a guy win a Baja 1000 in a Hummer? So they come out to see what we were doing, and we built some exotic cars for the military. I mean, high dollar stuff, $1 million stuff, you know, to test to see how it worked. And the vehicles what we built were really great, but they were too fast. I mean, we just did what they told us to. So we've developed quite a suspension company with the military. It's good.
It'll make you pretty proud knowing those guys are over there with Rod Hall stuff, you know?
Well, yeah, we have a pretty good reputation with the Special Forces guys. I mean, right now it's golden, and I hope it stays that way.
So, you know, you moved on, you're still racing. You plan on doing the 1,000 again this year?
Well, I think we will. You know, I mean, like I said earlier, you know, if I do 46 Baja 1000s, the next number is 50, right?
Right.
So how do you stop at 46? I mean, Sal Fish gave up at 45, and maybe he did the right thing, I don't know. But if I'm still healthy in November, I'll probably do another one.
Now let's talk, this is a little history. If you raced the 1,000 this year, go ahead and tell everyone you've been with every owner of SCORE since it started.
That's right. I was with I was with Ed Perlman when he started in '67, and then Mickey Thompson took it over whenever that was, 72, 73, and then I raced for him, and then Sal Fish took it over, and then I raced for Sal Fish, and then if Roger now owns it, so if I raced again, I've been through 4 owners.
I mean, that's something I don't think anybody could claim that.
Well, you know, records are only to be broken. But I have one record that nobody can ever break, because I did the first 45 Baja 1000s. And I don't care, maybe somebody might do more than 45 Baja 1000s down the road, but they won't do the first 45.
No, I mean, 45, that's a lot of races.
Well, that's a lot of miles, you know, and I really enjoyed, I enjoy long distance racing, where it's endurance type racing. You know, I've won a few Riverside races, 6 of them, I think, or something like that. And I beat the Class 8 guys a couple of times over there with my 4-wheel drive, when the heavy metal challenge or whatever it was. And it's very, you know, exhilarating and stuff, like the Lucas Oil stuff now. I mean, that's for young guys. I like watching it.
Well, this is your hometown where we're visiting. The next month here, we'll be here for the Reno 500, and what do you think? I mean, last year the first race here, the Fireworks 500, and it's in your backyard here. Pretty cool.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I mean, I won't be racing it, but my son Chad will be racing his 6100 truck, which is like a mini trophy truck.
Yeah.
He'll be running it, and I'm going to be out chasing him around and see what I can do to get in the way, you know. But racing's in my blood, and I enjoy it, and it's the one thing I really like.
Now, if you part of Baja, is there any, you know, when you started when there was really no roads, like you said, and you knew nothing from Ensenada south, what part of Baja have you really found you love, the biggest love?
Well, once I get below Ensenada, I just like it all. You know, I mean, it has changing scenery, and the roads are, you know, changed, but from the big cactus bushes, you know, to the to the driest desert and one of the desert driest in the world is, what is that? The one down by Guerrero Negro, but
like San Ignacio and all that. Pretty neat.
That's one of the driest deserts in the world, I think. But Baja has a special meaning to me because that was my really first true adventure that lasted for a week, probably, it seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that got me started because I've done 12,000 miles around Australia. I've done the Dakar Rally, and I've done the East African Safari, which is, you know, the big, when I did the East African Safari, that was like the Dakar Rally of today. You know, the big factories with then it was called Datsun and Mercedes-Benz, and these guys would go after it, and we took some big Dodge Ram Chargers over. Had a good run with them.
Well, you got a great family with Josh and Chad.
Yes.
Even your granddaughter, Shelby, coming up through the ranks racing.
Well, yeah, Shelby's doing a great job, and you know, I was saying earlier that the problem, I mean, she wants me to move the seat a little closer now, and I'm not sure she's quite ready. Another race or two, then we can shove the seat ahead another notch or two, but you got to be able to, you know what's going to happen before it happens, and you got to have some close calls before you know when it's enough, and so. No, she's doing a great job, and I tell you, we're really fortunate to have her with the Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame. She is going to be dynamite with that.
Yeah, we're going to have her on next week's show.
Oh, yeah.
And talk to her about the Hall of Fame, and I know you're a part of that, too.
Yeah. Well, I actually, I can't remember, maybe 10 years ago, I acquired the assets of NORA, the national, and I thought I might do something with it. Like maybe use it for the Good Housekeeping name for shock absorbers or springs or testing or something. But I never got that far with it. But along with it came the information on the Hall of Fame that Ed Perlman had started for a couple of years. Yeah. And I said, well, I think it's time for, I think we need a Hall of Fame in our sport. And Scoop was telling me, Scoop Vessels, the late Scoop Vessels, he said, Rod, every legitimate sport has a Hall of Fame. So I just legitimized our sport by saying that we have now a Hall of Fame, and it's very active, and got a great bunch of good board members now that are really active. We just got Bud Feldkamp on there, and we got Frank D'Angelo and Shelby.
Good members, yeah.
Oh, good input, hard-working guys.
Great inductees this year. The Weatherman, Jerry Herbst, a couple
of
people.
Yeah.
So, it's incredible.
Yeah, well, we got, I think, 5 this year, I think. And, Shelby runs that show, so I don't keep up with all that because I got other things I want to do, like retire maybe, George.
Well, we know when we arrived here in Reno, the first person we wanted to get on our show was you, Rod.
Well.
And definitely, like you said, a legend, an ambassador of the sport. And people out there definitely learned a little bit more about your life and what you've done. And I'm sure you're going to have many more thousands coming up here this year, next year, and we want to thank you for joining us on Dirt Live.
Oh, yeah.
Rod Hall, thank you very much, buddy.
Well, George, nice sitting there and chatting with you a little bit, bringing back some old memories.
All right, we're going to go to a commercial. We'll be right back here on Dirt Live in just a minute.
Hello, my name is Pat Dean. I'm the owner of Butch's Speed Shop, which I purchased in 2007 from my father, Butch Dean. We've just done an awesome renovation of the store. We carry all lines of high-performance off-road parts. I'd love for you to come inside and check us out.
The Eldorado Reno 500 and Dirt Live Off-Road Expo and Vehicle Demonstration combined with off-road racing in Reno, Nevada, July 7th through the 13th. Come enjoy this jam-packed week of Monster Freestyle Motocross, Ninja Stunt Bike Team with a 2-day off-road explosion, and race tech under the famous arch in downtown Reno. Unlimited pre-running starts Sunday, July 7th with free off-road expo. Standard entry fees, no increase for this big race. Arrive and drive race programs are available through Wide Open Excursions. For complete details, visit hdarace.com or dirtliveexpo.com. All events are free. Hey, welcome back to Dirt Live with another special guest.
Chris Baum. Chris, welcome
Thanks,
to the
George.
show. You're the CEO of Reno Tahoe USA.
Yep.
And the next few weeks has got to be pretty exciting for you guys.
Well, it is. I mean, I'm the guy who brings tourists and meetings and conventions here with my team, but I'm also a gearhead, so I'm just in heaven out here.
Let's go back a little bit, your back history, and you came from where the gearheads were.
I came from Detroit, Michigan. I was there for 6 years at the Convention and Visitors Bureau there, working with a lot of different automotive and motorsports organizations. And one of the things, when I got there, I joined the board of the Motor Cities National Heritage Area, which is actually an affiliate of the National Park Service. And it was a bunch of guys that were sort of museum and research oriented, and yet they wanted to have a higher profile. I said, well, we got so many automotive assets here, what we need to do is bring them together in a group and have them work together. And we created something that it was very successful there in cross promotion called Autopalooza. And it was everything from the NASCAR races that are held there, Detroit Belle Isle Grand Prix, the Woodward Dream Cruise. And so they started talking to each other, using the same customer groups. And once a gearhead, always a gearhead. Even if you're an off-road racer, drag racing is interesting. If you like hot rods, well, chances are motorcycles are interesting too. So when I got out here to Reno Tahoe, I was amazed and delighted to see all the cool automotive events that we have here, and frankly a little bit broader, piston-powered events as I call them, things that have to do with internal combustion, racing, showing off, and I thought we could probably promote them more together and share like audiences. So we created Northern Nevada Motor Madness. It's been going now for the last 4 months or so, and it's a great opportunity to really leverage all these terrific things, including our new presence in the off-road world, to a bigger audience.
Because a few years ago, Reno was known as a little big city, but gaming, basically gaming.
Yeah, we used to be #1 in gaming in North America, even bigger than Las Vegas back in the 50s. And then we were always in the top 3 for many years, but as gaming has become ubiquitous, you can gamble everywhere. You can gamble in your underwear at home on the internet now. So gambling can't be the only reason for people to come here. And the good thing is not only do we have Lake Tahoe and all sorts of natural beauty here with the Sierra Nevada mountains, we have an incredible lineup of special events, many of which are related to cars, motorcycles, and airplane racing, a lot of other cool stuff.
Well, let's start out, you talked about last year's event. You were here with us.
Yep. And
this was the first race for HDRA up here in Reno, the Reno 500. And I got to tell you, it was the most incredible. I'm sure I've been to many off-road races, and the contingency downtown here on Friday was incredible. The freestyle, the exhibition show with the Monster Energy guys. We had barbecues going on,
yep.
Food. I've never seen a town open up to off-road racing in my whole life.
Well, we're very enthusiastic here, and if we find something we like, we really get into a full bore. So I think the other thing that's great about here is that that fantastic racetrack is so conveniently located to downtown and the other hotels in Reno and Sparks. And I've been going to racetracks since the 1960s. Most of them are way out in the boonies, and eventually they get torn up and sold for housing developments or malls or whatever. Here we've got a terrific facility. Where else can you go 500 miles in the desert and then a half hour later be sitting in your hotel room again? It's a terrific setup, and I think as more and more people learn about that, they're going to realize for the best off-road racing experience, Reno is the place to come.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about things out there, the tabletop, there's lighting out there, yep. Parking for lots of motorhomes, RV parking, and you can see even for the race last year, 12 miles of the course is incredible.
Yeah, it's a great setup, and I think that as racetracks and racing venues become more and more difficult to pull off in most of the United States, places that can do it and do it with such style and fun really become even more valuable. And add on what the Lucas Oil series is doing with on-track off-road racing vehicles, and suddenly we've gone from a non-player to a really leading player in the off-road racing world in a very short period of time.
Yeah, you picked up 2 big, HDRA last year. You picked up the Lucas Oil. They built a track out here.
Yep.
Great venue and great success.
Yeah,
they're
we're
coming
excited
back
about
again this year along with us. Some other things that you guys have been doing for many years, the air races, which have been very popular here.
It's the 50th anniversary this year, and if you're a car guy, maybe you've never seen an air race, but I tell you, seeing those P-51 Mustangs with those big Rolls-Royce and Allison engines going 500 miles an hour over the desert, If you're a gearhead and that doesn't get your blood pumping, I don't know what will. So it's a unique event. It's the only air race really left in the United States now. All the others have fallen by the wayside. So to last 50 years and to have such a strong going event, and once again, it's very convenient. You can hop in the car right here at the El Dorado and be out there at Stead Air Force Base in just a half hour or so. So it's really convenient and it's a great show.
Well, speaking of air, how about the balloon race? I mean,
you know, people think of Albuquerque when they think of hot air balloons, and they've got a great festival down there, but ours is the second biggest in the United States, and it's very conveniently located. And you go up there, you get up at this deadly hour in the morning, and you think, why am I doing this? But then you get there, and you see the glow show where they're lighting up those baskets, and the balloons are taking off in pitch darkness, and then suddenly the sun comes up and a whole bunch more. Once again, it's a once-in-a-lifetime kind of experience that a lot of people have only seen pictures of. But to see it firsthand, it's a free event. Another great reason to come here. Our new slogan here is all seasons, 1,000 reasons. This really is a 12-month-a-year destination that has an incredible lineup of things to do. So no matter what floats your boat, you're going to find cool stuff here year-round. And you know, if you're a car guy and you come here in December, we'll go to the National Automobile Museum. We've got a great Rod Hall's Off-Road Hall of Fame is there. With you know, you can go see one of Parnelli Jones' Broncos there. A lot of other cool vehicles. And no matter what you're interested in, this place really can satisfy you. I think that's what's so cool about it.
I've heard so much about the hot August nights. I mean, that's incredible that you guys have had here for many years.
Well, the Woodward Dream Cruise in Detroit is a pretty cool event, but that's a one-day event. Here we've got an entire week with thousands of cars coming in from all over the country. And this year we've amped it up to the next level with Barrett-Jackson bringing one of their big collector car auctions here. There are only 4 locations in North America with the Barrett-Jackson auction: Scottsdale, Las Vegas, Palm Beach, and now Reno Tahoe.
Wow.
This one used to be in Orange County, California. They're bringing it up here on a permanent basis, and Craig Jackson loves our convention center. We own and manage that facility, and he says that's the best facility that Barrett-Jackson will operate in anywhere in the country. They've already got 400 cars consigned, and it's going to bring in a whole new crowd here to Reno Tahoe that I think are going to be blown away by what they see.
You know, I think what do you think really attracts? I mean, what I've seen when I've came here, you're only so many minutes from the lake. You can go to Lake Tahoe.
Absolutely.
You got all these fishing places around here. You've got 290 weekends that you have events going on here. It's incredible.
Well, you know, I think it's an incredible variety of things that most Americans have never even heard of. And if you live in Northern California or you know, this neck of the woods in the Northwest, yeah, maybe you know Reno Tahoe in the 21st century, but most people think they know Reno as a small Las Vegas. We're not even the same climate as Vegas. Vegas is 8 hours south of us through the desert, and they're in a true desert. We're the high desert here. So I was in Vegas on business the other day. It was 105 degrees. I flew back home, got off the plane here, it was 80 degrees. 25 degrees difference, that's a big difference. That's why we can have so many great outdoor summer events here in a pleasant climate when everyone's indoors down in Vegas. And Vegas is a wildly successful destination. I got taken nothing against them, but we're much more outdoors oriented here, and that's why the motorsports is such a terrific part of the mix.
And I want to correct myself. I just realized what I was saying. You have over 290 events, not 290 weeks. We know there's only 52 weeks, so
yeah,
definitely filling that.
Are held on the same calendar, but over 300 days of sunshine here too. That's one of the things. I've lived in 11 states in my career around the country, and I got to say, this is the best climate I've ever experienced. Sunshine almost every day, and the weather is warm in the day, cool at night. It just is a terrific place to live and play. And I think when people come out here for the first time, they kind of kick themselves and say, why didn't I know about this place sooner? So we're doing our best to get the word out that Reno Tahoe, yeah, you can gamble here, that's always going to be available, but there's so much more to do. There are world-class spas here, so you bring your lady friend along and she wants to go have a mud bath all day long while you're doing the gearhead stuff. It's a terrific place where everyone can have a good time.
Now, speaking of gearheads, you got something new this year along with HDRA, the Dirt Live Expo, which is something new.
Very
you guys
exciting.
Are sponsoring.
Well, we do a lot of displays, both at the convention center and the event center and on the streets of downtown Reno, and I think this one's a natural. The El Dorado Reno 500 is a terrific event in its second year, so it's been amped up with this additional element of exhibits from some of the top folks in off-road racing. People can come down, get a burger, come by, get some autographs signed, see some cool equipment, maybe upgrade their 4x4 with some new wheels or tires, and I think it's going to grow year by year and become a really big part of our summer lineup.
And if you're tuning in tonight and you didn't know about it, you need to get a hold of us, sign up, and join in and be here for that big week, because it's going to be a week of racing. I mean, the whole week for us, Chris. I mean, we're gonna have parties, you know, different nights. We got a party going on over at the Silver Legacy. We got Monster Energy guys over there with you guys at the expo. They'll be performing shows. They got bike street stuff going on, all kinds of events in the off-road industry going on all week. Then we have contingency right here, once again, like last year, right on the main street down here in town. We've got the race going on Saturday, all day Saturday, and spectators can go out there, and it's like you said, it's only a half-hour drive.
Yeah, I think that surprises people because most folks are experienced with going a long slog through heavy traffic to get to a racetrack to enjoy a sport they love. But boy, the convenience factor here, I would put it up against anybody anywhere in the country to be able to go to a venue like that, so convenient to your hotel and restaurants and other activities. It's a great package.
Now you're only minutes away, so many things going on. We even forgot to mention you've got 18 ski resorts. I mean, that's incredible.
It is, and they're fun in the summertime too. I think one of the things my family loves about being here is that no matter what weekend it is of the year, there is something going on, and you have so many things to choose from. That biggest little city in the world slogan that's been around for so long. I was telling something the other day, I went to see a Who concert, Itzhak Perlman playing cello, and a monster truck rally in the same week with my family. I mean, that's variety, and it's the kind of stuff you can get by having a destination that's big enough to attract top-name talent and activities and events, but small enough to really have kind of a hometown feel. I mean, for Pete's sakes, a mountain lion was tranquilized in downtown Reno last summer. So this is the Wild West here too. I make no mistake about it. We're on the edge of civilization here. More wild horses here out in the desert than anywhere else in the United States. You can get your car in 15 minutes from where we're sitting right now. You can see a herd of wild horses whose bloodlines goes back hundreds of years. It's a pretty exciting place. Old gold mining towns. So you got the Wild West element. You got the sophistication of concerts and resorts, and yet you got cool events that you can only see one place, and that's Reno.
Right here. So, you know, like, what's your favorite? I mean, do you have a favorite venue that comes here? I mean, you guys kind of...
It's really kind of hard to pick. I mean, I love sort of action sports. So the Reno Rodeo here is on this week, and is a terrific event. It's been going on since 1919. It's held at our Reno Sparks Livestock Event Center, which is a kind of a cool old school arena. And you really feel like you're stepping back into an all-American week of activities when that's in town. So I love that. I love the whole line. I mean, we call it N2M2 for short, Northern Nevada Motor Madness. I mean, there are motorcycle events out in Virginia City. We've got you know, all the cool off-roading stuff that we've talked about here today. The air races, it's exciting. It's something you don't see every day. And once again, that convenient location where you can have the desert setting that allows you to race those planes at 500 miles an hour, a couple hundred feet off the ground, so close to civilization, is a pretty unique setup. So I don't think, you know, it's kind of like your kids. I don't think I can choose my favorite, but I love them all.
Yeah, you mentioned, you know, Virginia City Grand Prix a few weeks ago.
Yep.
Great thing that's been going on for...
Kind of a crazy race.
Wild.
Those guys have a lot of cojones to race those motorcycles on those winding mountain roads there. Boy, it's pretty exciting stuff.
I did it about 15 years ago. It's a pretty
Did
neat
you?
place. And
Yeah.
What a neat town. They open up to the whole series. Also, the same weekend, I forgot to mention, we're going to have the AMA National Hare and Hound at the venue out there with us at the Reno 500, and that'll be part of the qualifier that these guys are going for the Dakar Challenge. So
very cool.
On motorcycles, along with, you know, that's another great deal. The guys raced the Baja 500 just a few weeks ago in June, and those guys that are competing for the Dakar Challenge are now going to compete here at the Reno 500, and the top guy in certain classes gets a chance to go to Dakar. That's a huge thing.
And it's really unprecedented to have a destination sort of catapulted in the top tier so quickly. I mean, this is only the second year for the Eldorado Reno 500, and already it's really an important stop on the circuit for all the off-road guys. So, you know, we're delighted.
So if there's anybody out there watching and say they have a venue they'd like to bring here to Reno, I mean, because you offer so much, how do we get a hold of you?
Well, you know, visit renotahoe.com is our website, and all our contact information's on there. And we're always talking about folks about new events. We keep on adding them. This N2M2 Northern Nevada Motor Madness, a lot of folks are now contacting us and say we have a motorsports event, and you know, we're particular. It has to be an event that really is of national scope and importance before we can add it as an official event. Everybody's welcome to come here, but the events we really promote most heavily are the ones that we think can draw from out of state. we want folks flying in and staying in our hotels and taking advantage, and if you drive in or you're local, you're welcome too. But our focus really is bringing folks here and exposing this terrific part of the world to new visitors and returning visitors.
Well, Chris, we want to thank you for joining us here on Dirt Live. We want to thank you also for being a big part of what's going to happen out here in a couple weeks, being the sponsor of the Reno 500, the El Dorado race, and all what's going on here. And we want to thank you for what you've brought from Detroit to Reno to make this a motorsports.
Once a gearhead, always a gearhead, and I couldn't be happier to land in a place where there is so much internal combustion on a daily basis.
All right, thank you very much. Chris Baum joining us here on Dirt Live. We're going to commercial. We'll be right back in just a minute.
For those who pledge allegiance to life, liberty, and the endless pursuit of a damn good time, we have one suggestion. Find your passion in Reno Tahoe, USA. 4 seasons, 1,000 reasons. Visit RenoTahoe.com.
The El Dorado Reno 500 and Dirt Live Off-Road Expo and Vehicle Demonstration combined with off-road racing in Reno, Nevada, July 7th through the 13th. Come enjoy this jam-packed week of Monster Freestyle Motocross, Ninja Stunt Bike Team with a 2-day off-road explosion and race tech under the famous arch in downtown Reno. Unlimited pre-running starts Sunday, July 7th with free off-road expo. Standard entry fees, no increase for this big race. Arrive and drive race programs are available through Wide Open Excursions. For complete details, visit HDRArace.com or DirtLiveExpo.com. All events are free.
Hey, welcome back to Dirt Live. We're here with Roger. Roger, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thanks, man. Good
to
be here.
You've been a busy guy this week. I know preparing for the big race. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's talk about the Dirt Live Expo coming up.
Dirt Live Expo is off the hook this year. It's going to be so much fun. We've got live music out on the street, same format as last year with the cars parked, and we're going to have a lot of motorcycles this year because this year it's also a National Hare and Hound motorcycle race as well. So all the motorcycles will be on display, and all of the tech and contingency comes to you, so you don't go to them. There's going to be a lot of off-road exhibitors. The exhibitions are going on for 3 days. The streets are shut down, and all kinds of great shows to see from on the Monster Energy stage to the Monster Energy Freestyle Motocross team, the Monster Energy big Ninja stunt bike team, and there's going to be parties on Thursday night. That's one of the reasons why we decided to do the tech and contingency that way, is have it roll through. Right. Is that way everyone can relax and have a good time. You know, after you've had a long night of having a good time with your team and friends, it's a good idea not to have to be pushing a car in the sun all day, and be able to relax a little bit, enjoy contingency.
That's a great idea, you know, and I know last year was pretty cool. So we had Chris Baum on the show earlier, the CEO of the Reno Tahoe USA, pumped to be part of this, and I know you would love having these guys on board.
Yeah, you know, they've been a big part of Dirt Live, and we've been promoting the heck out of Reno and Tahoe, and of course this is my hometown, so it means a lot to me as well.
Well, you've been out here busy for the last couple weeks. Let's talk a little bit about some updates for the Reno 500. I know you've been out there with bulldozers 5 times the size of a trophy truck trying to prepare this course.
Yes, yeah, we've had some huge equipment out there. You know, we had some heavy rains just recently, like 2 weeks ago, and it washed out all kinds of stuff. So we had a lot of repairs to make and a lot of grading to do to fix the north end of the course. And we made a lot of really cool either ors, you know, where some guys had trouble last year with getting stuck, and so we made either ors where you can go the old way, the hard way, or you can go a little bit further and know you're going to make it real easy.
That's pretty cool. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Because you know there could be a log jam there.
Yep.
And here is a good spot. Well, go around and.
So if you're feeling lucky, you can go the hard way.
Yeah. But if you got some huevos, go the hard way. If you don't, go around.
Yep.
Well, I know anything else you've been working on, pretty much going on, so updates for us for the 500? pretty much?
You know, there's so many exciting things going on. We're going to have 700 megabytes of service out at the race site. So Dirt Live is going to be off the hook out there. It's going to be, you know, true high definition, and we should be able to have multiple channels, and it'll be a lot different than what it's ever been before because we've never had this kind of bandwidth before.
You know, I mean, that's incredible. I mean, they should be able to hear us at the bottom of the earth. You know, that's crazy. Well, I know last week's announcement, we were at Terrible Herps last week. I know you were busy taking care of stuff, but what do you think about that announcement about the Terrible Herps building that big motorsports park out there at Valley of Fire? Incredible.
You know, it's the future of off-road, you know, off-road racing on private property, and in that kind of a venue where we're going to have a nice casino and a beautiful trailer park and all of the amenities and all of the things that they're planning on having around it. It's kind of like what they tried to do at Prim, but at Prim they were surrounded by BLM properties, so they were super limited. Where here they have 75,000 acres of private land that's owned by the Indian tribe. So we're going to be able to do a lot of really incredible events, and it's not going to be as difficult as it usually is when you're going on to government BLM property.
Looks good for a race coming up in September. It's going to be fun.
Yes, yes, it's going to be amazing. I wish I was racing. That's all I can say.
I think you're thinking about doing that again, huh?
No, I can't do it.
Too busy. Well, Roger, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You know what we're going to do tonight is, folks, we drew the drawing tonight for the winners from the Baja 500. That was a great giveaway. We want to thank Monster Energy. We want to thank BF Goodrich. We'll get this thing fired up, Roger, for us. Okay. And we're going to read the winners. We had Rigid Industries along with GoPro and King Shocks. So go ahead, Roger.
Well, the set of BF Goodrich tires goes out to Tyler McClue of Clinton Township, Michigan. And then the Monster Energy fridge and the 6 cases of the world's greatest assorted energy drink is Brian Roundtree from Las Vegas, Nevada. And then the Rigid Industries 30-inch light bar is going to go to Jason Zuniga of Granada Hills, California, and you can read the rest.
I'll take care of, okay, the last two. This guy wins the shock bump guards from King Shocks. Alejandro Rivas from Calexico, California. I want to thank him. And the last prize was a GoPro Hero Black Edition, Jorge Ramirez from San Luis, Arizona. So we want to thank all the people that jumped in there and tried to win, and we want to thank the great sponsors, Roger, that kicked in all these great prizes and stuff for us to give away here on Dirt Live and Score International. And Roger, once again, I want to thank you for joining the show and sharing what's going on, getting ready for we're going to be here in Reno for the next 3 weeks, folks. So I want to thank you, Roger, for coming on again, buddy.
Appreciate it.
And we're going to thank all our sponsors, the fans, and everybody out there, and we'll see you next week right here on Dirt Live.
Dirt
Adios.
Live is brought to you in part by Wide Open Excursions. It's your turn to drive.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. Very cool.
Dirt Live, promoting racers one interview at a time.